Zach, I guess the first thing was like Colorado State. What does stand out about them defensively?
It's just a very solid defense. They do a great job. They're not overly complicated, but they are very gap sound. They know what's they're trying to get out of each front or back end coverage. They do a pretty good job with their eyes, and then the big thing that you see too, just on paper, is that there's a bunch of seniors. It's 9 out of 11 seniors, and they've been playing together for a while, and so it's going to be a great challenge for us. And it's a physical defense, and we're playing at their place, so it's going to be a great challenge.
How do you look at the last 5 games and how you guys have taken care of the ball? How big has that been? How have you been able to do that?
It's huge. Yeah, it's huge in every game, and if we can continue to do that, we're putting ourselves in a position to win. And we've really harped on that in practice and in everything we do, and it's shown up. And the guys are doing a great job of taking care of the football, whether it's our running backs or ball carriers or quarterbacks are doing a good job too. So, but yeah, that's one of the biggest statistical deals in each game, whether you're going to win or lose, and our guys have bought into that, and they understand the significance and have executed.
You look at the first 4 games, and you're 2-2, and there were significantly more turnovers, and obviously these 5 there haven't been. Did you guys emphasize something different during that bye week, or is it, I don't know if luck's the right word, but have you guys done anything differently, or is it just evening out?
I think our offense is figuring out what we're good at and what we're not, and the guys are definitely clicking, and with the quarterbacks and wide receivers being on the same page, being able to run the football obviously helps things out. And week in and week out, you're seeing different defenses and different things you're trying to attack, and our guys have bought into the scheme that we're putting in each week, and they go out and execute it. And Brett and Montel do a great job with their preparation and know where to go with the football, and our wide receivers have done a good job at getting open and winning one-on-ones and shooting this game. I mean, there was plenty of contested catches, that they were making that we weren't seeing earlier in the season, and now guys are starting to have a whole lot more confidence and playing a little bit faster, and the physicality of which we're playing is showing up too, which has been huge for us, winning. That's something we've preached all the way through the year, that the toughness and the physicality are going to win football games for us. So our guys on the offensive side of the ball are starting to believe a lot more in what they can do. We're spreading the ball out a little bit more too, which showed up in this last game, and trying to be more unpredictable with the way I'm calling it, and that's opened up some things for guys. So
kind of on that note, did you ever catch a pass in your collegiate career? And did you ever think that you would call a game where both your quarterbacks would have a reception in the contest?
Yeah, I've never caught a pass. And no, I've never had a game where 2 quarterbacks have caught passes, and said put it on the money with both of those, and it was fun, seeing both, and then Brett going up and getting that one was, as it was developing, as I'm watching it from the box, you're kind of like, all right, it's open, and then the kid kind of turns and comes back, and it's that late lob ball over the top. I'm like, oh man, this could be bad. So, but hey, he went up and made a play, and it was awesome to see. I'm sure he was pumped.
I think I can see the safety's eyes from the press.
No.
But with the wide receivers, it does seem like those true freshmen, especially, who've stepped up in the last couple of weeks. But what is the challenge? What has been the challenge here to kind of develop some of those high school wide receivers? You hear at Boise State, because the better ones you've had, you've had said Spurback might not even been a wide receiver necessarily when he came in here, stuff like that. What has been the challenge with that?
Well, early in the season, you're talking about a pretty much new, inexperienced group of guys. And so we knew there was going to be some ups and downs, and we knew we had some good young guys that we wanted to develop, and CT and Octavius are growing each week, and we're trying to give them more and more. And, our offense isn't the easiest to just pick up, as a high school, kid coming into college and learning a new system and terminology and signals and where you're going on this and motions and shifts. And so they've done a good job of preparing themselves and putting themselves in positions to make those catches and be successful. And they're extremely hard workers, and as well as that whole group. And they've progressed. Coach Keesaw has done a phenomenal job with those guys, not just the young guys, but that whole group, and getting their confidence up. And we've seen dramatic improvement in that group over the year.
Steve, trust and confidence and improved in the offense, and just kind of getting back to kind of opening up the playbook a little bit. I know you had 2 quarterbacks catch a pass, but Madison, Rowe, Cozart, and Rippon all lined up, in that quarter as a quarterback. And said Cozart and Rip all completed a pass. So I mean, just I don't know. Is there more trust right now to kind of open it up a little bit?
Yeah, there is. I mean, we're just, again, trying to be more diverse now that we're through the mid portion of our season. And again, a lot of the early games were some physical battles where we were running the football and they were running the football, and there wasn't a ton of possessions. And then we're starting to figure out, again, what we're good at, and maybe just being a little bit more unpredictable, in what we're doing, and seeing what guys are stepping up and where we can use them in different positions, and then try to make it a little bit more difficult for defenses and defensive coordinators to figure out, where guys are going to be, whether it's Said or whether it's, Montel or who's in the game with those 2 quarterbacks.
Looking back at the last 2 games for you, what's been the key to Brett's individual success?
I think it's just been more opportunities. He's, from my perspective, he's had a very good season, and there was that stretch of games where we weren't throwing it very much, and he didn't have a whole lot of opportunities. So, numbers are one thing, but when you look at the film, like he's had a really good season. He just hasn't had the opportunities, and now that he is starting to get more opportunities, and he's done a great job of being patient and bought into what we're asking him to do, which hasn't been easy. I mean, obviously with Montel getting in there and playing, and he's playing great too, and Brett's a very unselfish guy and an unselfish player, and he understands that at the end of the day we want to win football games, we want to win a championship here, and however the best way for us to get a W at the end, it doesn't matter how many yards you throw for, how many touchdowns, it's getting that win. So but over the last few games you can see Brett started to develop more trust in the wide receivers and trust in the O-line, and he's just kind of letting it go, and he's always done a great job with his preparation, and now with the opportunities, you're able to see it more as a fan, I guess,
He said that, this is when we talked to him last week, he said that prior to the Utah State game that he sat down and talked with you and Coach Harrison. What did you take away from that meeting? And then, I guess, how important has a little bit of patience been? Because, you go back a month and maybe there's some noise outside this building that Montel should be the quarterback. And these last 2 weeks, Brett at his best, and you've seen the offense at its best, scoring 41 points.
Right. We trust both of those quarterbacks, and Brett's obviously done a phenomenal job with, seasons past, and we have a lot of trust in him. And so no matter what, past games have been, he's built up enough trust where we know what he's capable of. And so it's not about 1 or 2 games or, a streaky patch where, we're not throwing it that much for him to, for us to yank him, and we know what he's capable of, and we've, with those talks with Brett and with Montel, he's kind of, he basically stepped up and said, hey, I'm ready to have more opportunity, I'm ready to take over, I'm ready to, for some more throws early on in games, and I want to get into a rhythm. And you could tell he was very hungry and confident, and so we pushed more in practice, throwing a little bit more, and you could see him start to improve and get a whole lot better, at what he was doing, and be more efficient. So his confidence is right where it needs to be, and we're hitting our strides at the right time and moving in the right direction at the tail end of the season here, going into the final few games.
What impresses you most about Ryan Wolfen? You know, I asked Carson about him, and it's willing things to say about him, but he seems like one of those guys. Maybe not everyone notices because he
Sure.
doesn't always get a ton of work, but you guys obviously seem to really like him in this building. What does impress you about him?
He's an extremely hard worker, and he's got one speed, and he's very good at a lot of different things. You know, he's not exceptionally fast. He's not exceptionally quick. He's not exceptionally physically, gifted, but he just does everything really well, and whether it's catching balls out of the backfield or whether it's, hitting our runs or even blocking. I mean, he does a great job at blocking and being physical. And so sometimes he gets overshadowed or overlooked, but we've got a whole lot of trust in him, and he's done a great job preparing himself for each game, and he comes out to practice hungry.
I can't get specific, but obviously it's been a good couple of days of recruiting, and I'm curious, with the new signing period, in early December and stuff, has that changed, like how you guys approach it? You try to lock guys up earlier, get more commitments earlier? Does it change how you're noticing players make decisions? How does that all differ when you have this, where here you are only 6 weeks away from trying to get most of your class locked up?
Yeah, you're always trying to get commits as early as you can, I guess, and target the guys you're going after. And our recruiting department does a phenomenal job with, identifying guys, and then, we're getting a bunch of guys to campus and seeing who is a good fit. And we like the guys that we're on right now, and are excited about the future in this 2018 class, and then starting to build a little bit on the 2019 class too. So
I don't know the number. It seems like at this point you have maybe more of your class already, at least from verbal commitments, higher than maybe you would just if the signing day was until February. So do you notice guys wanting to make decisions sooner, or is the goal to get your class pretty much done by that December?
I think it's getting earlier and earlier every year. And I'm sure the early signing period helps with that, as far as guys wanting to make sure that they're locked into a good situation and where they want to go. And it's new for us, so I with this being the first year through this, we're gonna learn a lot, and probably have some talks after this whole recruiting period is done, and after the final signing day is done, and how we want to attack it and what our philosophy is, if it changes because of the early signing period. So I don't really know yet, but it's guys are wanting to jump in, and obviously winning games helps.